Shut up and sit down.
Howdy guys, Andy from Bigmeks Workshop Painting Studio, and it's an Age of Sigmar figure. This is a Lumineth Realm Lord's Scinari Cathallar. I believe it's what it's called. It's a lovely model in any case. As all the Age of Sigmar models, really stacked with detail. And this one, being a female model, is right on my alley. As always, got a black base, and we're started on a skin because we're doing sort of that sheer clothing. So after a couple of layers, really thin layers of Resurrection Flesh, I'm going in with Violet by Scale 75 as well. Now this is predominantly Scale 75 paints, but I'll keep on telling you what brand they are anyway. And as you can see, nice thin layers, leaving sections of the legs areas open for flesh work. Going on to the scarf, and this is going to also be sheer. This is going to be in Liandris grey, so we're going to have a nice sheer white sort of looking scarf, along with a sheer purpley robe. What's going to show our legs off on at the lower end. So now I'm using Elendil Violet, which, as you can see, is super thin, and I'm just using that just to tint the area around where I've painted the flesh on the legs. And what we're doing is going to give the illusion of the leg pushing through the thin sheer material of the clothes. It does take a long time, as you can see. It takes a lot of layers. You want to be using really thin paint. Now at this stage I'm using Elendil Violet, which is slightly darker than regular violet, and I'm just painting in some shade in all the recesses, rather than using a wash, because I don't want to. I want to be able to control the depth of the colour more than I would do with a wash. So once we're getting onto the highlights, we're going to start using the Liandris grey with violet. Now Liandris grey is kind of a bluey grey, so it really does highlight purple as well. So long as you've got a purpley blue colour rather than a purpley pink colour. And we're using that to blend in some of those darker patches. And we're also going to be pushing onto the flesh areas just to bring that colour together so it looks a bit more natural. So what we're doing is we're highlighting some of the purple with Liandris grey, adding Liandris grey into the purple, and this is going to be used to add extra life to the highlight. We're going to use it as an extreme highlight at a later date. We're pushing it onto the flesh work, and what we're going to do is we're just really going to add some real nice transitions onto this. So back onto the skin again, and we're using Black Earth Brown by Scale 75. And what we're going to be doing is much the same as we did with the Elendil Violet. We're using this to, rather than using a wash, we're using it to add some depth into the recesses, really start to add some detail into that face, maybe add it into the creases in the back of the knee, any of that sort of stuff. The stuff where the wash would naturally flow to, but we're using a much softer colour than the Reetland. So now we're adding more Liandris grey to that purple. As you can see, we're just starting to really pick out those highlights, really make those transitions interesting. Again, we're still pushing it onto the flesh work. We don't want the flesh to be totally pink. It needs to have that subtle purple hue, or as on the cloak, it needs to be a slightly grey colour, as the to show the effects of wearing a sheer piece of fabric over skin. So I'm adding Liandris grey, and lightening it up with Purity White, and as you can see, we're just doing exactly the same thing as we've been doing on the cloak, using the natural movement of the cloak to dictate where we have the highlights, and we're just going to do it really slowly. There's no rush with this model. It's a really nice model, so you want to make the most of it. So adding some metal work in. This is decayed metal. Obviously you could use water or bronze or anything like that. I chose decayed metal. I wanted a nice rich colour, what was going to be easy for me to get a good coverage with, and get a real nice bright gold colour on there. So once we've got the decayed metal down on all of the areas what we're going for with the metalwork, this is Scinari bronze. As you can see, I did exactly the same, use the exact same colour on the trim around the lower regions of a dress. Really be careful. You will find you go and make mistakes. Just make sure you've got some of the original mixes in there, so you can tidy it all up and get that nice, neat, swirling texture on there. So I've added some Runefang steel to the Scinari bronze, and as you can see, look, we're really focusing on the most extreme areas. Now this is really going to brighten that gold up and make it look a lot more interesting, especially once we start putting some washes and such on it. Really make it look a lot more regal. So she's got some gems all over, and I decided I was going to use red and really make them stand out. So just to brighten the colour up a bit. So this is blood red by scale 75, and as you can see, we're just getting all the blood drops and also the horsehair sort of tassels as well. Once the blood red's gone down, we're using Antares red, and this is going to start doing this sort of gemstone highlights, exactly what you do on the gems of an Eldar. So we're highlighting the bottom rather than the top of the gems, where the light would naturally pass through the model. Using Aldebaran red now, nice orangey red, really nice for highlighting the other colours. And as you can see, it's starting to give the illusion of transparency, making the gems look a lot more see-through, a lot more clear, and this is just going to add to that effect of all the kind of the translucent model, sections. So using a little bit of the Mars orange, or any kind of nice bright yellowy orange would work. This is just adding that extra little highlight there at the bottom of the gems, and this is just going to really make it look like the light's showing through. Obviously, to really expand on this, you can put a nice little dot of white on there, and just to really make them a bit more striking. So the smoke and the stone is getting a base of brown grey. Nice, as you can see, nice browny grey there, and getting a real nice coverage on it. And this is going to be highlighted up with rainy grey once we've got a good consistent nice smooth coat. So as I said, using the rainy grey, we're going to get some nice highlights on there. The browny colour off from the nice soft natural smoky brown grey there really starts to lend itself through, and you can get a real nice effect with the smoke from these colours. Now, as I said, I went for the same colours on the stone. Probably a bad move on my part. Made the stone look too similar to the smoke, but you do get a nice effect from these colours. So now I've added some Miskatonic grey into the colour, and what this is doing is it's just lightening up those stones and that smoke in the most pronounced areas, and you're gonna get that nice transition, a real soft colour transition from these colours. So what you get is a real natural soft highlight. So you get a nice transition without having to mix too much. So once the Miskatonic's gone down, we're adding some Purity White to the Miskatonic grey, and just some final highlights. Really make those upper edges pop out, and you're going to get a real nice, vibrant highlight. I'm also going to do the same on the some of the edges around the stone. As I said, probably would have been better if I'd have gone for a more deep grey colour on the stone, make it look a bit more interesting compared to the smoke. But that's more of a hindsight. Everyone's got 20/20 vision when looking backwards, haven't we? So at this stage I decided about time I started painting hair, and I went for orange leather. I decided to look an orangey hair colour, sort of a ginger hair colour would look really nice with the purples. So orange leather, great colour for that sort of thing. Just on the brown side of ginger, so it's not over the top. Real natural sort of redhead hair colour. So after all this, about time we put a wash on. So Regal and Fresh Shade is getting painted in nice and gently onto all of the metalwork. Also, it's getting painted into her hair as well, because it's a real nice orangey colour. So it really does take well on that orange leather. And as you can see, it's just going to start bringing out the detail, really accentuating the golds, adding some nice depth onto the golds and any of the metalwork what you can get to without going over onto any of the other colours. So now I've gone back to the black earth brown. This is a nice highlight for the orange leather, and as you can see I'm just starting to pick out the individual clumps of hair to bring out some nice highlights onto that. And what we're going to do is just going to make that hair really start to look interesting, bring out those nice rich colours. So now what I'm doing, I'm just adding a touch of white into the black earth brown, and this is just going to finish off those highlights. So what's going to happen next is once we've put the pin wash in, or oil wash, or however you want to call it, it's going to all these individual parts are going to be separated by a nice dark black line, really going to accentuate the paintwork, and it's going to have a real nice finishing effect over the entire model. And there you have it. Once the pin wash has gone down, you get a real nice striking definition on the model. And for an attempt at painting sheer clothing, I'm quite pleased with this. I've tried it once or twice before, and it is quite an interesting technique. I really enjoyed it. As I've said numerous times, I do enjoy painting female figures. They offer a lot more interesting shapes to paint than some of the male ones, as they tend to be more heavily armoured or wearing sadly wearing much more clothes, because game designers have a tendency of doing that. As always, thank you for watching this one, guys. Fully enjoyed painting this. Totally worth painting if you're just out there to paint some toy soldiers. As always though, thank you guys for watching this. Please hit like and subscribe, share with your friends and all that good stuff. If this is the sort of thing you want to see more of, check us out on Patreon. We get early access to all videos. We're starting to get ahead again, and there's a few other benefits in there as well. Anyway guys, specific thanks to the Orc Boys, Matt, Ludwig Hofbauer, D-Wack, Mark, Dave, Tom, Spikerdude and Ben. They're our top paying Patreons, and without them guys we couldn't keep the lights on, so huge thank yous to you. Also, if you're interested in getting reduced price models, check out the Element Games or the Outpost. The links are in the description. There are affiliate links where you can get cut price models for all your hobby needs. We get a store credit or discount crystals as well at no cost to you, so everybody wins. Anyway guys, I will catch you in the next one, and hope you have a good day. Bye bye.